Hello guys, welcome back. And today we're going to be talking about the 2019 NHL draft and asking the question, how good is this draft class? Now the 2019 NHL draft has been labeled as a pretty weak one, but is it really bad or good? And how good is it compared to other draft classes? Watch till the end to find out. Now the 2019 NHL draft is a polarizing one, but whether you think it's a really good draft or a really bad one, there's a lot of fantastic storylines and players in this 2019 NHL draft in Vancouver. But the 2019 NHL draft has been labeled for about a couple of years as a weaker draft, weaker than 2018, weaker than 2020, weaker than some other years in the past, and it's always been labeled that way. It never has really been thought of as this super strong draft, and I kind of agree with that to a point. The 2019 NHL draft is by no means a generational draft. It's not like 2003, it's not like 2018 where these generational talents are going left and right. It's not quite that. There is some amazing talent in this draft, but it's not going to be this elite draft that comes out of nowhere and puts superstars left and right, like 2018 or like 2003. Now, I'm going to be honest, the 2018 NHL draft spoiled us quite a lot because the 2019 NHL draft is solid, but the 2018 NHL draft was just so good that 2019 just could not really step up to that kind of level. When it came to the 2018 draft, there was on paper great talents going left to right, generational talents like Rasmus Dahlin, fantastic elite talents going like Andrei Svechnikov, Philip Zadina, Kakko. There was some fantastic talent in the 2018 draft that is still yet to make the NHL, but being fantastic prospects that they are, there's going to be a lot of prospects and a lot of talent coming out of there in the next few years. And that's what I expect to see out of the 2018 draft. That's how good it really was. And the 2019 draft, again, it is the year later. It is still as solid, but it is by no means as good as that 2018 draft, which was pretty hard to replicate anyways. When it comes to the top 10 in 2018, it was just filled with elite talents. Dahlin, Svechnikov, Kakko, Tkachuk, Hayton, Zadina, Hughes, Boquist, Kravtsov, Bouchard. There was a ton of talent in just the top 10 of the 2018 NHL draft, and that itself is hard to replicate. With the 2019 NHL draft, it is a very solid one, but when it comes to the 2018 draft just being a year before, it kind of makes the 2019 NHL draft look a lot more weak than it actually might seem. Now, the 2019 NHL draft is not going to match that 2018 top 10. It's almost impossible to achieve that kind of talent level. But the 2019 NHL draft is still very solid. And when it comes to comparing a draft class with 2019, I like to compare the 2019 NHL draft class to the 2016 NHL draft class. Not just because of the Matthews, Laine, Hughes, Kakko brawl, but because of how these prospects were situated and how these prospects came into fruition. Now, just a little bit of a refresher for the top 10 in 2016. You had Austin Matthews going number 1, Laine number 2, Dubois number 3, Puljujärvi number 4, Juolevi number 5, Tkachuk number 6, Keller number 7, Alex Nylander number 8, Sergachev number 9, and last but not least in the top 10, Tyson Jost at number 10. And when it comes to the comparables, obviously, Matthews versus Laine, you have the top 2 guys being US versus Finland. That whole thing is happening again in 2019. But when it comes to these positions, especially, I think it is super comparable to the 2019 NHL draft, where you have one defenseman who was obviously the best defenseman in the draft, but you have a lot of forwards in that top 10, surrounding the top 10, that have lethal talent and could be excellent forwards in the future. Now, looking back at the best forwards out of the 2016 NHL draft, you obviously had guys like Matthews, Tkachuk, Laine, but then you go to DeBrincat, Keller, Dubois. Those are some very solid names, and the 2019 could be even better than that. I could see it definitely surpassing that forward class when it comes to guys like Hughes, Kakko, Cozens, Dach, Krebs, Alex Turcotte, Trevor Zegras. It definitely has the names. The 2019 NHL draft, I think, is super underrated in the aspect of the forward group. Yes, it has looked like as a pretty dominant forward draft, and it's looked like that for the last couple of years. But when it comes to the forwards that come out of this draft, they're absolutely lethal, and a lot of them could become lethal NHLers. Now, the 2019 NHL draft is even less dependent on defensemen than in 2016, where the 2016 NHL draft was pretty heavy on forwards. The 2019 draft is looking amazing for forwards, and while there is some great defensemen, obviously like Byram and Victor Soderstrom, I think when it comes to the forward group, it's very impressive what they've been able to do as a collective group, especially in the top 15. A lot of guys surpassing expectations, playing quite well right now, and that just shows how strong the forward group is. There's likely to be 3 at most defensemen in the top 15. I think it's less of the defensemen not being all that great, and the forwards just rising to the occasion right now. You can kind of see that too at the top of the draft, where you see Jack Hughes and Kakko fighting for that first overall position. Jack Hughes having an unworldly U18 tournament so far, and Kakko contending for a world championship spot with Team Finland. Now those two guys are battling it right now. When it comes to the drop-off there, I don't think it's quite as big as some people might say. You got Jack Hughes and Kakko right there, and I would say it's only about a little bit of a difference between guys like Alex Turcotte, Zegras, Cozens. There's still some fantastic prospects, guys like Byram as well. But when it comes to the forward group especially, obviously you got guys like Jack Hughes and Kakko who are the leaders of that group, but there's some amazing talent still left in that top 10. Just to list out the top 10 that'll likely be it, you got guys like Jack Hughes, Kakko, Turcotte, Zegras, Krebs, Byram, Cozens, Podkolzin, Soderstrom, maybe even a guy like Caulfield. There's some definite competition here. And when it comes to the 2019 NHL draft, when it comes to those names, it doesn't really scream to me a weak draft. It doesn't scream to me a bad draft. Those kind of names, Jack Hughes and Kakko, are not bad whatsoever. And to me personally, the depth that we have in the top 10 and even in the top 15, while it might drop off a little bit after the top 20, I still think right now it's looking like a pretty solid draft class, even at least in the top 20, where you got some definite superstar talent. Now, I've also seen some people compare this draft to the 2017 draft when it comes to overall strength, and I kind of agree with that, but I think the 2019 draft is just a little bit stronger. While there's been some fantastic players, some amazing talents to come out of that draft, I feel like when it's all said and done, the depth will be a little bit better when it comes to this 2019 NHL draft, but the 2017 draft was still underrated at the time, and right now is producing some amazing young players. Guys like Elias Pettersson, Miro Heiskanen ain't bad either. The 2019 NHL draft is nothing short of underrated. While it's not as good as maybe the 2018 NHL draft or the 2020 NHL draft, the 2019 NHL draft is still very solid with guys, of course, like Jack Hughes, like Kakko. With the guys under them, it's still fantastic. While obviously, most of those guys will not turn out to be NHL superstars, I think a lot of those guys will turn out to be at least solid NHL players with some solid upside. And even outside of the top two, there's some fantastic prospects to be had. So again, it's not to the caliber as some other drafts, but it's still at least pretty solid. Now, in my opinion, something that this draft kind of lacks compared to some years past is some of the draft steals. Now, obviously, it is a little bit too early to say this, but when it comes to the depth in the rest of the draft, I think it is a little bit weak compared to years past, especially in places like the 6th round, the 7th round. I still think overall it is a pretty solid draft. It's pretty hot, top heavy. Once you go out of the top 20, it starts to fall back a little bit, but it's pretty even playing field after like the 2nd round to pretty much the 5th round. But after that, I think it kind of collapses a little bit, and obviously that's bound to happen. Me saying that'll basically guarantee a 7th round steal or something, but I think the depth is something to watch over. When it comes to the overall strength, I still think the 2019 NHL draft is very solid. There's a lot of fantastic young prospects, forward-wise especially, that'll make some big impacts in the NHL one day. And when it comes to every draft, obviously they're going to have those. This one was still pegged as a weaker draft, but when it comes to the overall talent level, yes, it's not going to compete with 2018 or 2003 or 2015, but it is still a very good draft in its own right, and will likely be one of the better ones we see in this decade. When it comes to 2019, again, some fantastic young prospects, and Kakko and Jack Hughes ain't bad at all, showing why this draft really can be that strong. This might be one of those drafts that people say is bad at the time, and in 5 years' time, it just becomes this absolutely amazing one. And when it comes to this draft, again, Kakko, Jack Hughes, those two guys are fantastic. But when it comes to a lot of the other prospects in the top 10 even, there's a lot of guys that won't just become great NHL players, but superstar NHL players. And obviously, not every single prospect will turn out. When it comes to, let's say, 5 years in the future, there's going to be a lot of people that said it was a bad draft at the time really start to sway that opinion, because there's going to be a lot of guys proving them wrong and showing just how good they really are. And even though I might be a little bit biased because of USA and them having such a great draft, guys like Hughes, Turcotte, Zegras, etc., there's still a lot of prospects to choose from a variety of different countries. And when it comes to this draft, again, it might not be the best, but there's going to be a lot to pick from talent-wise for a lot of teams that didn't end up making the playoffs this year. Even with that, the 2019 NHL draft is looking very solid right now. While it won't blow you away by any means compared to other drafts in the past, it is still a very solid one. And for me personally, I wouldn't qualify this draft as a bad one. I would qualify it as an underrated one. I think that's the much better term to use for this one, and I think it works quite well. But of course, with this video, I want to hear your guys' thoughts down in the comments down below. So let me know, what you think about this 2019 NHL draft. Do you think it's a bad one? Do you think it's a good one? Let me know. And of course, do you think this is a good one compared to other drafts in the past? But if you guys want some more Grav videos just like this one, you can click on this card right here to watch my video about the New Jersey Devils and whether they will pick Kakko or Jack Hughes. But that'll be it for today, guys. If you guys did enjoy, make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell if you haven't already. Again, comment down below your thoughts 2019 NHL Draft and whether you think it's a good one or a bad one. And I'll see you guys next video or stream. Goodbye.